Alright, so welcome back to my channel everyone, and this is my take on a beam mage using the annihilation spell in Wolcen. And these are very exciting times, I think, because I play through the story mode as well, and I think it's pretty cool. But there are still a lot of bugs and a lot of stuff that the Wolcen team needs to take care of. But regardless of those, let's carry on here with my beamy mage build, and let's dive into that, right? So keep watching, guys. Rock on. So hey, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be going over this annihilation build that I made. And I actually think it's quite fun, and it works pretty well, at least up to +4, +5. And right now I just need to work on upping my gear, but as you can see here in +2 dungeon, that it works out pretty well, gets the job done, and it's pretty fun to play with this. And also when you're using the bulwark, the healing ability, the setup of right now is that the healing just stays on you with the modifiers that I've used, and it's pretty powerful. And along with having the force shield buffed up, it is working out pretty well. As you can see, my health is actually not really going down much, and the shield is regenerating really fast, because I have a lot of regen on my hero at the moment for the force shield, and nearly about 3000 force shield health points. So that is pretty nice. We can just, you know, you can see here this Demon of Soul coming down in a moment. But this build is working out pretty well, and I started to play with the mage here when I was playing through the story mode, and I've just continued to try to, you know, improve on it, because a lot of people say that the mage builds are pretty weak at the moment, and I actually think that if you do it, you know, there must be some kind of way to buff it up, right? So I take this up as a challenge and actually try to work a little bit with it. So but let's move on to looking on the character, so you can see how everything is set up. Alright, so let's take a look at the points here. You can see ferocity, where I've spent every point in ferocity. The points that I have right now in wisdom is actually from the passive skill tree and from gear. The bonus damage is at 59.2%, and just a bit over 3k on the force shield. 1012, 1029 damage. 748 on the fireballs, and you do a bit of damage when you jump through enemies with either jump. But grants a second beam is what you want on annihilation, pierces enemies as well, and increased damage. Reduced damage loss on each bounce, increased damage, and more likely to deal critical hits, and adds another bounce. This is what I'm running with for Thunderstrike. Consuming embers, increased damage, and convert to lightning, and projectiles no longer collide, and increased damage. Bulwark of Dawn. The healing area follows the player. Increased healing rates. Bonus to all resistances while inside the area. And increased duration is what I'm going for with this. But this is the only healing ability that I have, because I'm not using any healing potions. So this is why I'm using this as well. Now, you will want to be able to cast multiple times with the Ether Jump, and remove crowd control, and gain willpower for every mob that you pass through, and increase range. This is what the modifiers that I'm using here. So let's move on here in just a second. Now let's talk about the gear. The staff I'm using here is I'm buffing up ether damage with my gem. There's more annihilation damage, right? And a lot of movement speed on your feet. Force shield, wisdom, resistances on the legs. And this is actually really important, this belt. You need to get this from the vendor in town. This will give you spell damage. And a lot of extra damage to the spells. I would like to have more elemental spell damage. But I am buffing everything up. This is just my current setup now. And this is not even a sorcerer piece of gear, but it gives a bit of wisdom and yeah. Force shield, a lot of force shield. It's really good for survival. Spell speed casting. Now here you can see I have 48% force shield regeneration rate. That's why I have so much regeneration. You can see on the helmet as well, 53% force shield regeneration rate. It's working out pretty sweet, to be honest, for survival. And here, force shield plus and ferocity. Wisdom. I do want the wisdom because I want the spell casting speed, so my dots tick faster when I use annihilation, right? But this is the best pieces that I've found so far for this, but it's still pretty early on, so I suspect that I'm going to find a lot of better pieces, and I want the unique weapon as well, and try to play around with that. Here you can see just a quick run through that I haven't got that much average damage. Force shield 3151, and the regen is 40% faster, and resistance is also pretty low because I have not put any points into toughness. I'm just going to rely on the force shield, and it's working out pretty sweet so far. Now let's take a look at the passive skill tree here. So as you can see, I have plus to force shield 25% here, 25% again, and status alignment resistances and or resistances here. Force shield regen, 10% damage reduction when your force shield is full. That's why I have all the regen, because I want to, you know, keep it full. 10% cooldown reduction, 250 increase willpower, 50 range when picking up globes. Force shield recharge from health globes also helps me keep up my force shield. So spell damage here, 20% spell damage, and 15% spell casting and 10% damage. Just running through this quickly here. And I have the ailment here 50% because I want to be able to put stasis on the mobs. And cost reduction is very important in the leech. For when you're using the beam, you're doing constantly ticks. You want leech and you want it to be cheap to spend it. right? So you can just keep on, you know, keep the beam up for as long time as possible without having to use anything else. Here we get some elemental damage and some occult damage here, and extra 20% damage from last spell cast. So when you're using the same spell a lot of times, this will help. Force shield regen, 200 increase willpower. Movement speed, speed cast, spell cast. 25 wisdom. 100% spell crit chance, score. So these are the nodes that I'm running with. Plus 20 force shield here and spell damage in these other three. And last we have spell casting speed and spell cost reduction again. So it's all about keeping it cheap, keeping the beam up for a long time as possible. So let's get back into some gameplay. Alright, we're back here killing some stuff. And the way the beam actually works is when you hold down the button, you can move your mouse cursor towards your character and it will actually split up the beam when you have two beams activated. And this will do, you know, this will spread the damage if you need to. If you go into large packs, I usually do that. And I usually run into, you can see here, we're using two beams. But usually when I go into a pack, here's a large pack, you can swipe them over with the beam like that, or split up the beam. It's really up to you. But usually I also use the bulwark to keep my defenses up, and you definitely need to do that when you're on the larger mobs. I mean Demon of Souls or like the Devourers here. It's a good idea when it's an elite or a rare monster to, you know, you need to keep up the defensives as well. So. But mainly, I am actually mainly using the beam. I'm not using the other spells as much, but maybe if I can buff up my elemental damage, that would work out. But for now, I am, you know, mainly just running with the beam. Maybe it can seem a bit dull or a bit boring this build, but it's actually pretty fun because you still have to avoid stuff and, you know, playing around, playing. So I definitely think it's good fun. But I will leave you guys with the rest of the gameplay, and please enjoy that, and thank you for watching, and I hope this build could actually help you out getting started to farm some veteran dungeons in this country patch 1 of Wolcen. So I'll just see you guys later, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.